Hello, and welcome back to the Follow Your Spark podcast. It's your host, Gina here, and I'm coming on for a solo podcast episode all about how taking on a challenge in your life can create really positive momentum, energy, and movement, especially if you're feeling stuck. And if you are feeling stuck or powerless in your life right now, I actually recorded a different solo episode a couple weeks ago, episode 73, all about why you might be feeling that way and 7 different practices that can help you create positive change. So that is a really great episode to dive into if you want to hear more about why you might be feeling that way. And this episode is all about specifically the power of a challenge to really reignite your fire. So first, we're going to talk about why you might want to take this on and then what exactly that could look like. All right, my friends, you ready? Let's dive in. First of all, I was inspired to record this episode today because I'm in the middle of my own 30-day challenge in my business, and it has been transformational. And I can already see it helping me clear some really sticky and stuck limiting beliefs I had about myself and I had about my business. And I feel this incredible momentum that I know is going to carry way beyond these 30 days, and the impact will continue to ripple out just from the work that I'm doing here. And no matter what happens, whether I reach the goal of my challenge or not, I know that I am becoming a new human being in this process that is going to open up so many things for me personally and professionally. So it has been a profound journey. And it's also something I've been guiding many of my clients through right now, their own 30, 60, or 90-day challenges. And I can already see the same powerful shifts and changes going on internally and externally for them too. So I feel really fired up about this, which is exactly why I wanted to share it with you. Okay, so why would you want to take on a challenge in the first place? If you're feeling like there's something in your life you've been saying you want to do, whether personal or professional, and it always seems to not be the right time or something else keeps getting in the way, a challenge could be a great tool to help you break free from that and really move forward. Or maybe it feels like you're just missing a fire or motivation to want to do that thing in the first place. Whether that looks like getting your business off the ground or making new friends or starting to date or making progress in a career change or pursuing a new hobby, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If there's something that, like I said, if it feels like you want to be more fired up about, that feels important, but you just can't seem to get the energy moving behind it, a challenge is perfect for that. Also, the way that I am going to share about a challenge in this episode, this is not so much about chasing a goal as who you become in the process of taking on a challenge. So the reason why you might want to take on a challenge is because of exactly that. It's because of who you become in the process of pursuing that thing, whatever that thing is. So it's this idea that if you were the person already that could create that result, you would have done it already. And through this process of the challenge, you get to become that person or take steps towards becoming that person because you're putting yourself in this place of tension, of friction, of growth, and really inviting yourself to step up to the plate, step up to the challenge, and see who you can become through the process. If you heard the first episode of this season with John Posner, it's called The Power of Choosing Your Challenges. And he talks all about how his organization, it's all about making mountain biking accessible to youth in schools. So he talks about the value of having these kids learn how to mountain bike, learn how to take on these obstacle courses and these challenges, and all the incredible skills they develop along the way. Skills of resiliency, of collaboration, of commitment, of creativity, of problem solving, all these different skills they get to develop inside of this challenge that's going to support the rest of their lives in every area of their lives. So the beauty of taking on a challenge and why you might want to do it is because it will help you build these muscles that will be supportive to you in any and every area of your life. So again, it's about who you're becoming in the process and less about just being attached to the goal and having that be the only thing that's important. Really, who you become in the process is much more important than whether you reach the exact goal that you're setting for yourself or not. The other thing that I want to share that is a really powerful reason of why you might want to take on a challenge, and it might not sound that way when I first say it, and truly it is that when you take on a challenge, it brings to the surface anything that was holding you back from being able to create that reality to begin with. So if there are limiting self-concepts you have about yourself, whether you're not smart enough or you're bad with time or you never follow through, whatever that is, all of that stuff is going to come to the surface. Or if you're afraid of feeling failure or you're afraid of feeling discomfort or embarrassment, any of those things, opportunities to feel those things are all going to come to the surface. So basically, again, all the things that you were afraid of that were holding you back from stepping outside of your comfort zone or taking that leap of faith, taking on a challenge is going to bring all of that up so that you can face it and embrace it and learn from it and again grow from it and be that person who is able to handle that or be with that, whatever that is. And if this doesn't sound fun, I get it. And there is a way to enjoy this process and to be grateful for this process. And it's about thinking about, even if you weren't bringing your attention to this, it's still there underneath the surface. It's still there consciously or unconsciously getting in your way, holding you back. It's likely what's leading to the procrastination, to, you not making time for this, to you not being compelled to, pursue it, whatever it is. It's all under the surface already. So why not bring it into the light so that you can, again, learn from it, heal from it, and grow from it, and become the person that you want and need to be in order to create and live the kind of life that you want to create. So taking on a challenge is a really beautiful opportunity to see what is exactly getting in your way. It will make itself known throughout this process. Okay, so what is a challenge? It's something that sounds like I create blank by blank date. It's a goal or intention that has a time frame attached to it. So it could be I generate a certain amount of money in my business by December 31st, 2024. It could be I lead my first class or event or experience within 30 days. It could be I put myself out there and go on 10 dates within 2 months. Whatever it is, you get to choose. The key is here that it should excite you and compel you and also scare you at least a little bit. It should be something that would stretch you, would expand you, and also be within the realm of something that you could believe is possible. You don't want to make it so far out that your brain just completely discounts it, like that could never happen, so you don't even go for it. You want to find that sweet spot and that balance between something that feels like it would definitely take something for you to do differently, to be differently in order to create that. And again, you don't want to make it so out of reach that it feels inaccessible. So that's what a challenge is. Now let's talk about, how do you do it? What do you do in this process of taking on a challenge in your life? So step one is identifying what that is. So you can journal on this, you can marinate on this, and then write it out and see what you come up with. Step two is to connect to your why. So it's really important to get clear on a why that compels you and really thinking about, what would the impact be on me if I took on this challenge? Again, it's less about creating the exact result and more about who you become in the process of going through this challenge. Why does that matter? How will that transform you in your life? How will that impact the people around you if you step into that challenge, if you take that on for yourself? And really come up with compelling reasons, more than one, 5, 10. What are the reasons why you would take on this challenge? And this is going to be important because, again, like I said before, it's going to bring up all your stuff. Your brain is is going to want to try to convince you why you shouldn't do this, why you should wait till later, why it's never going to work. And if you aren't connected to compelling reasons to keep you going, it's going to be very easy to give up. And it's important to stay connected to this why. So even if you answer this question once, that's likely not going to be enough. It's going to be something that if you set a 30-day challenge, that it'll be important to stay connected to that why throughout the whole experience, and to even come up with new reasons every day so that it stays fresh. And there might be a new reason, every day why it matters to you, and to really explore that and give yourself time and space to feel into why that really matters to you. The third thing to think about is, what feelings would you need to be willing to feel, and what feelings would you need to cultivate in order to navigate this challenge? So that might look like you need to be willing to feel fear. You need to be willing to feel anxiety. You need to be willing to feel uncertain or uncomfortable or confused, and thinking that through so that you're essentially giving yourself permission now. We're saying that you're willing to feel that now. So when those emotions come up, you're like, yeah, I know this is a challenge. It's okay. It's natural. It's normal that I'm going to be confronted with these different feelings. That's not a reason to stop. And then the next part of that is, what feelings are you willing to cultivate? And when I say cultivate, I mean create within yourself. So that could be gratitude, that could be feelings of resourcefulness, feelings of empowerment, feelings of confidence, and to really practice exploring what it would take to believe that. And if feeling your feelings sounds like a foreign concept, I talk about this a lot on my social media, on Instagram. I've done a lot of Instagram lives about this, so check out those. For more resources and support, there are definitely tools that can help you feel your feelings and cultivate feelings on purpose. And one of them, number 4, is actually a way to do that. So the fourth thing to explore is, what would you need to think about yourself in order to believe that this was possible? So this is where you can start to build evidence for why you are capable of achieving this. So you can begin to think, well, I've created things in the past that I had never done that once felt impossible, so I must be able to create them again in the future. Or you could think, other people have achieved this or created this in their lives, so why couldn't I? And the more that you journal on this and really use your brain to explore, what would I need to believe about myself in order to step into the belief that I could do this? And when you think about that, notice again how that makes you feel. So when I talk about cultivating feelings, this is a practice to cultivate feelings of empowerment, of confidence, of capability by asking yourself questions like this. Another similar question is to take yourself to a place where you have created this already, and imagine, what would you think about yourself in that moment? If you've created the thing, if you've went on the 10 dates, if you've held that event, if you've taken that first class and that hobby that you wanted to pursue, or whatever it is, what would you think about yourself in that moment? And really close your eyes and take yourself to that place and imagine what that would be like. Imagine what you would think about yourself, imagine how you would feel about yourself, and spend some time in that energy, tuning into what that vibration and sensation feels like in your body. It's really this practice of imagining that future that already exists and stepping into and embodying and feeling what it would feel like in that reality now, and getting comfortable in that sensation so that you can get your brain on board, you can get your body on board, and you can begin to practice what that would feel like so that that reality becomes more and more accessible. The more you think about it, the more you feel into it, and the more you build the beliefs and the thoughts of what you would think about yourself if you believed it was possible and if you completed it, if you did it. The next thing to think about are what obstacles might get in your way and how you would solve for that. For example, if time is a big challenge for you. I find this comes up a lot with my clients. They might struggle to schedule things that are important to them, or they feel like they never have enough time to pursue the goals or do the things that really matter. So if that feels like a challenge for you too, if that could be an obstacle, how would you solve for that? For example, you could say, every Sunday, I'm going to look at my calendar and block out my time and literally put in my calendar the time frames for the things that I want to do. And then maybe you're somebody who things always take longer than you thought. So maybe your solution is, I'm going to double the amount of time. So if I think something's going to take an hour, I'm going to give myself 2 hours to do it, or whatever it is. Really think through, what are some potential obstacles that you think could get in the way, and what could be a solution for that. And you could do this, practice this exploration every week. So if you're in a 30-day challenge or a 60-day challenge, at the end of each week, you can evaluate and really see, what are the challenges that I experienced? How did I solve for them or not? If those challenges come up in the future, what could I try and do differently this time? Again, the whole purpose of this challenge is a learning experience. It's about the skills that you're developing throughout this process that can support you for the rest of your life. This is not an opportunity or an invitation to pass, fail, or to make yourself a failure or bad or incapable if you don't achieve it. It's all about what you can gain from playing full out and knowing that that's way more than what would have happened had you not tried at all. The next thing to think about is, how could you enjoy this process? What would make it fun for you? So even though taking on a challenge, like I said, could bring up difficulties, it could bring up those things that maybe you haven't wanted to face, it could bring up challenging emotions, it can also be really fun. So answer that question for yourself. What do you think it could be like to infuse fun into this process, to enjoy this process along the way, and see what comes up for you? The next question is, who could you enlist to support you throughout this process, or what could help you stay accountable? So when it comes to challenges, when it comes to goal settings, what I know is that it is tremendously beneficial to have supportive people around us. Because if we don't tell anyone about our challenge, then it's a lot easier sometimes to break our word to ourselves than to break our word to ourselves and other people. When we've put it out there and spoken the words out loud, they take on another energy. So if you have a friend, a mentor, a coach who can support you throughout this process, that can be tremendously helpful and beneficial to support you as those challenges do come up, to talk through those things that are bubbling to the surface and to help you keep going, even in the moments that you want to quit. I also find visual tracking tools really supportive. So next to me, like I said, I'm in a 30-day challenge right now, and I have the actions that I believe are going to support me, both the things I'm doing as well as the internal actions I'm taking, the thought work I'm doing, the feeling work I'm doing, on like a checkboard next to me on the wall right here. For every single week, I'm doing this 30-day challenge. So every single week I can check off, I can write comments, I can write notes to myself on how those actions are going so that I can see what impact that's having on the overall challenge, on the overall result I'm aiming for, and use that as a tool, again, to learn, to grow, to assess what's working and what's not working. So you can both have the support of people in your life, as well as what are the physical tools that could really support you through this process to track the things that you think are going to make the biggest impact on you reaching that goal, as well as have supportive people around you who believe in you and can help you troubleshoot or talk through the things that might be coming up on your journey. The next ingredient or thing to think about that's really important throughout this whole experience is the energy of gratitude and acknowledging yourself. So throughout the experience, again, not just at the end, the beginning and the middle, throughout the whole time, to really think about, what are you grateful for this experience for? especially and even in the challenging moments. So when those challenges do come up inside of this overall challenge, to be able to ask yourself, what could I possibly learn from this moment? What gift could I distill from this experience right now that could support me in the future? And continuing to ground yourself in that energy of gratitude. And again, coming back to your why and letting that energy help fuel you to keep going. And then to be able to acknowledge yourself every step of the way. So again, this is not about only being attached to that end result. It's about also being able to acknowledge the growth you're experiencing, acknowledge your courage, acknowledge your resiliency, acknowledge your effort so that you can really see what's happening along the way and not just be attached to that end goal. The next piece that can really support you in a challenge like this is to connect to wisdom and guidance from your higher self. And this is connected to, like I said earlier, when you're in that energy of what would it feel like? What would I be thinking about myself when I do, reach that intention, when I do create that? It's about being able to tune into that energy, connect with that energy of your higher self and ask for guidance, ask for wisdom. So if there's ever a point during this process where you don't know what to do, you can ask your higher self to support you. And if you don't know how to do that, if you don't know where to start with that practice, I have another YouTube video and a meditation that can help you connect with your future self, your higher self, and ask for that guidance. And then once you've gone through all of these things, you've connected with your higher self for guidance, it's about asking yourself every day of this challenge, what's one inspired action I can take today? And this is not about trying to force things. This is about cultivating all of those energies, those emotions that can support you, tuning into your why of why this matters, and then asking yourself, asking your heart, asking your intuition, what's one inspired action I can take today? And then taking it. Trust yourself to take that step and see what happens. And then throughout the process, reflect and see what's working, what's not working, what's the impact of those actions that I took. And as you continue to move forward, see what you can learn and see how that might direct a different action tomorrow or a different action the next day. And keep asking yourself that question, what's one inspired action I can take today? And finally, something really powerful to think about is how will you celebrate yourself no matter what happens? So if you set a 30-day challenge or a 60-day challenge or a 90-day challenge, think about what's something that you could do to celebrate. Maybe you want to take yourself out to dinner with a good friend and share with them what you learned, or you want to treat yourself to a special spa date or a bath or something, or you want to buy yourself a new oracle deck or whatever it is. If there's a treat or if there's some way that you can celebrate yourself and the effort that you put into that challenge, have that be something that you're looking forward to. Again, because this is not about pass fail. This is not about I only get to have that treat or that experience if I complete my challenge, if I reach my goal. This is about knowing that you're taking something on, something big. And no matter what happens, you can use this as a profound learning experience and catalyst for growth in your life that can have an impact way beyond the end date of this challenge. It can create so much momentum, so much energy, so much forward movement, especially when you were feeling stuck and powerless, and knowing that if you played this game at all whatsoever, you're going to be in a different place. You're going to be a different human than you would have been otherwise. And that is something to celebrate. All right, my friend, if you feel inspired to take on a challenge, I am so excited for you. And if you are looking for support, like I said, this is exactly the kind of work I do with my one-on-one coaching clients. And when this podcast is airing, it's going to be in the middle of an exciting offering I'm doing called Consult Week. Similar to taking on a challenge, I created Consult Week to also inspire you into action. Consultation calls are all about taking time and space to get clear on what really matters to you, what you desire, to explore what's getting in your way, and then to illuminate what tools or practices or modalities could really help you moving forward. And if coaching ends up being something that feels like a good fit, amazing. We will talk about what that could look like. So these consultation calls are free 75-minute calls to help inspire you to take that next step, whatever it is, whether that ends up us being working together or not. I am completely unattached. I am just committed to supporting you in having that forward momentum in your life so that you don't have to wonder what if and keep letting excuses or doubts or reasons get in the way of you creating and living the kind of life that you really want to live. So, Consult Week is offering a special incentive for you taking action now. So, for anyone who books a consultation call in the month of October, I am gifting one of 5 different gifts. That might be something physical, like an oracle card deck, or it could be one of my favorite books, or a handmade art piece from me, or you could win an intuitive coaching session with me either in person or virtually. All you have to do is head to ginacasbarro.com and book a free consultation call. I will be announcing the winners or notifying the winners every day from October 28th, 2024 to November 1st. So all you have to do is head to ginacasbarro.com and book one of those calls. And this episode is airing at the beginning of this week, and my calendar is filling up. So if you want to get on my schedule and be eligible to win one of these gifts, head to ginacasbarro.com now and check my schedule. And if none of those times work for you, let me know, reach out. You can email me at gina@ginacasbarro.com. Let me know a couple times that work for you, and we will figure something out. Because like I said, I am so excited and my fire is lit and I am ready to help you reignite yours as well. And I just cannot wait to talk and explore what's possible for you. All right, my friend, I can't wait to connect and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.